talking about something that a lot of you have dealt with for the last few months. It's been a very tough cold season, flu season, and if you're at home, you've got kids, they've probably been sick, but if they haven't, you need to have a plan. Kenny Bodanis joining us as a parenting blogger, author of Men Get Pregnant Too. Kenny, let's talk about that. Right. Your kids are getting sick. There's a lot of things parents need to know, and particularly, they need to plan ahead, don't they?
Absolutely. The first thing you need to do is have a workable plan. Your kids are going to get sick. Yeah. It will happen, and statistically, it'll happen at the worst possible time. It won't always happen, that it'll be a crunch. So have a plan. When that happens, when the kid spikes a fever at 3 o'clock in the morning, who can you call? Who's available to come? Which one of you can try to take a sick day? Which one of you can stay home? Start talking about that, so when it happens, you say, okay, we knew this was going to happen eventually. Let me grab the phone and see what we can do.
The last thing. Most parents now, both of them are working, got to call in sick. But for a lot of parents, you know, A, they feel uncomfortable calling in sick. They feel guilty. You know, like I took one sick day off in recent memory, and I felt terrible about it. So talk about those sick days. I mean, what you're saying is, you know what, those are yours. You get to use them.
Exactly. Many employers have a set number of sick days. You'll have 5, 6, 7 sick days a year. You might also have personal days, which are aside from sick days, which allow for things like family emergencies, sick kids, taking care of a relative. Go into your employer and ask the question, look at your human resources manual, know what your rights are, know what you can do, and be sure that you understand that when that time comes, you're entitled to call in and say, look, can't make it in today, sorry, I'll see you as soon as I can.
Yeah, and that's right. And you've got personal days, you've got sick days, use both of them, and well, how do you get over the guilt? Just quickly, like, to me, that's the biggest thing. What are your tips for getting over that guilt? Because it's so funny, because if you ask someone, what's more important, your job or your kids?
Yeah, that's right. It's an
easy question, right?
But it's amazing how guilty people feel, and how many times you sat next to somebody and you can hear them, okay, I need a sick day, and they muffle their voice, and if it's work, don't answer the phone. You are entitled to not only take those sick days, but you're entitled to not offer an explanation. When I need to take a sick day tomorrow, why? What's the matter? It's not their business what's the matter. If it's a medical condition or whatever, stress is worthwhile. Having to care for a child is worthwhile. If you're away from your child and your child is sick and that's stressful for you, that is a reason to stay home, and you don't owe anybody an explanation. Often policies, if you extend past your regular number of sick days, will ask for a doctor's note, okay. But if you're within that quota, you just take a sick day and I can't come in.
That's an important point too. We also got to talk about mental health too, because mental health equally as important as physical health.
That's right.
Let's talk about that plan, and what's the best time to come up with that plan to deal with that?
Before you have kids.
Okay.
It is going to happen.
I'm gonna write down some notes.
It's not easy to do, but you have to understand where you are in your careers, both of you, and if you're going to have kids, okay, when it comes down and the kid has a flu or a fever and needs to go to the hospital for even something minor, is who's going to take care of it? How are we going to work that? What if you have a big presentation the next day? At least take the steps initially to understand how you might go about taking care of that before the baby comes. And
quickly now, Kenny, let's talk about just what's your one last tip for parents who are at home? Like, this stuff goes away, right? Kids aren't sick forever, right?
Absolutely. It's this too shall pass. You might have the big presentation tomorrow and your kid is sick and it's crunch time. Listen, flus don't last forever. Your kid will forgive you for not being there. And also the presentation will come back, and if you need to pick up the phone and going, listen, I really can't be there, but this is a big presentation. Look, I can't be there. They'll get over it. This too shall pass. A week from now, no one will remember.
It will pass, and the time has passed very quickly. Kenny, thank you for joining us. Head on over to our website, btmontreal.ca. Go to the show notes section. You'll find all the details on Kenny. Coming up on the show, we got your Oscars covered, plus